This video shows that Planck's radiation formula has not been derived by Einstein, and therefore, there's no foundation to the claim that theory of lasers has anything to do with that derivation purportedly stemming from quantum mechanics. Einstein claims in the paper quoted that he has derived Planck's radiation law. To do that, the author observes a gas molecule which can have two quantum energy levels, lower Z sub n and higher Z sub m. The gas molecule is placed in a radiation field where it can undergo induced transition from lower to higher energy level and back, as well as spontaneous transition from the higher energy level m to lower n. This results in the obvious balance equation, corresponding to a lower temperature T sub 1, shown here, where P sub m and P sub n are statistical weights of states m and n. Bnm and Bmn are constants, quote, Einstrahlung, or induced radiation coefficients, expressing change of state under induced absorption and emission. Rho is radiation density of frequency μ acting upon the oscillator. Mn is a constant, quote, Ausstrahlung, or spontaneous emission coefficient, characteristic of the spontaneous m to n transition. Epsilon sub n and epsilon sub m, where epsilon sub m is greater than epsilon sub n, are the energies corresponding to two states, Z sub n and Z sub m of the molecules. When radiation density, Rho, goes to infinity, which occurs at extreme temperatures, both exponents containing epsilon sub m and epsilon sub n become unity. And the term containing Mn vanishes. It becomes infinitely small compared to the other terms and can be neglected. Now, Einstein does the most unbelievable thing. He expresses P sub n from this equation, corresponding to higher, as said, extreme temperature T sub 2, and replaces that P sub n, corresponding to higher, as said, extreme temperature T sub 2, into the expression corresponding to the lower temperature, T sub 1. Then he carries out cancellations, reorders terms, and voila! What pops up is something that resembles Planck's radiation law like 2 drops of morning dew. In this way Einstein thinks he has derived Planck's radiation law. However, Einstein's derivation is obviously in error. As emphasized several times, the first equilibrium which Einstein writes is only valid at temperature T sub 1. On the other hand, as already stressed, the second equilibrium which Einstein writes is only valid at higher, extreme temperature T sub 2, and is not valid at lower temperature, T sub 1. A given equilibrium at a given temperature T sub 1 is described by only one equation, and not by 2 different equations, as the one shown. Therefore, the relationship between P sub n and the other parameters at temperature T sub 1 is, and is not. Therefore, and Planck's radiation law cannot be derived from the above. Considering that 2 different equations describe the same equilibrium at temperature T sub 1, is a crucial mistake in the derivation, which invalidates that derivation, despite the formal resemblance of the expression obtained to the expression looked for. Einstein has not been able to derive Planck's radiation law. Here in this study, having nothing to do with his theory of relativity, Einstein resorts again to an internal contradiction which is worse than just offering an incorrect theory. The conclusion from this analysis is that Einstein's paper claiming to derive Planck's radiation law should not be used or quoted in any context. And any claim that there is a theory of lasers, for instance, least of all based on quantum mechanics, accounting for the work of lasers, should be considered null and void.